I wanted to understand the mindset and the thinking and the philosophy uh, and the ideas that they were sharing and they were engaged with before I approached Chairman Fred as an individual. I'm like, no, trust me, I know. And you create the boundaries.
I'm just gonna go ahead and create something over here. Coming up on Another Act, I sit down with the Oscar-nominated Daniel Kaluuya, who talks about bringing Chairman Fred Hampton to the big screen, and he goes deep about the toughest scene for him to get through in Judas and the Black Messiah. Daniel, how did this project first come to you? Because the story is so unique and so interesting. So tell us about it.
It came to me through Ryan Coogler and Ryan Zinzi Coogler, who produces on the project, and I was on a set of Black Panther in reshoots, and then they just pulled me to the side at the end of the reshoot and said, "Yo, we're making this film about Fred Hampton. Shaka King's directing, Lakeith's involved, and they talked about their reasons and the intentions for the film, and they wanted me to play Chairman Fred, and I was just like, oh wow." And then we spoke about it, and then they sent me a two-page treatment. It was probably the most impressive treatment I've seen. It's really hard to get across an arc of a film in 2 pages. Like, it's a really difficult medium to express that. And then so I was sitting there and I was like, I was being educated reading it first time, you know? And I feel like I've done quite a considerable amount of like viewing and reading about that time. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like the ideas and the concepts that he was expressing really blew my mind. Like stuff like that heightened the contradictions.
The films I think that you've done, certainly since Get Out, all feel to have like a very strong messaging. Like there's something that you want to communicate through your art. Is that the case, or is that just kind of a lucky happenstance?
I think it's like I started on this show called Skins when I was 17, 18. I was in it and I was writing on it. So I was in the writer's room. And being in that writer's room, I think I really understood their their perspective on the kinds of stories that they want to tell and how stories are out there, it being provocative, it moving people, it's saying something, was just instilled within me. Like I kind of was like, yeah, that speaks to me too. And then I think when I started going on with my career, I just like, it's just in my makeup, it's in my settings. So if something has something to say, then yeah, let's go. Do you know what I mean? It's like I think I kind of see this industry, the stuff I want to say and the stuff I want to help people say. And my acting career is me helping someone say something.
Mm. Well, what you do in Judas and the Black Messiah is inspiring. I mean, I think that it's one of the best films that I've seen in a really long time, but most certainly this cycle, and everyone else feels that way too. I know a lot of times as an actor, you tend to want to stay away, generally speaking, from what people are saying about your work. But by now, you know that people are loving it and appreciating it. What does that mean for you?
It's beautiful. Like it's because they're the people I want to connect with, but I want to connect with their like work wise. I want them to feel invigorated and like I don't just want to go. I want to say something. I want to have them to have fun. I take it as seriously as I would as if I asked my friends to go to a party, and like how good the party is really matters to me because then my rep's on the line. So then when I ask them again, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna go, oh, Daniels, nah, like I don't want to. Like, they're gonna trust. I'm like, no, trust me, I know. And that's how I feel with terms of film, is that I want to be that vessel, be that conduit. So I cultivate a level of trust with the audience that this speaks to. Because it's not like I'm separate from the audience. I'm watching films the same way. All the films that I am a part of, I want to watch. That's why I'm a part of it, you know?
So you know that I think you absolutely nail Chairman Fred. I mean, you got this man down. If you've watched any documentary footage, you truly become him. How did you become him? Tell us a little bit about building him.
I think the fact that it was a real person is the first time I kind of played a real person. First time I played a real person on screen. I had more boundaries. It's kind of like you have a target, but when you have a real person, you just have more boundaries. While when you're playing a fictional person, you create the boundaries. Before like probably like 18 months before, I read the majority of the Black Panther reading list, which is in order to be a fully fledged Panther, you need to go on 6 weeks of political education. And I wanted to understand the mindset and the thinking and the philosophy uh, and the ideas that they were sharing and they were engaged with before I approached Chairman Fred as an individual. So I did that. Then I took myself to Chicago. I really wanted to meet the family, but because of politics, that couldn't happen on that trip. So I was there for a week, and I went to Maywood, where Chairman Fred's from. Went to places that he used to speak at, and spoke to the people there, and I really just spoke to what Chairman Fred meant to the people that grew up in the places that he used to be. Because there's not a lot of information about how he lived. There's a lot of information about how he died. And then I did opera. I had an opera teacher. Had an opera teacher that I went to see because I realized that it's a film, but I'm in a play and everyone else is in the film. And the weight and the kind of the weight on my voice and my vocal cords and my instrument on those days when I have speeches is like you'd spend 12 hours, and then I would do the speeches and then understanding that and really explore cadence, because I saw that his cadence in speech form was different in his cadence in speaking form, in a
Mm,
more intimate conversation. And that transition is kind of doing that transition and be aware of that transition. But also it gave me a philosophy that I kind of held on to, is that these speeches are a talking version of singing as opposed to a singing version of talking. It was a rhythm that they were tapping into that moves us. You know what I'm saying? That moves Black people. I would listen to the audio and then correct my blocks or stuff that I was doing in the session and do that. But it was just like and then I just followed my nose. Then I was just like doing it and then constantly recording myself audio wise, so that when you're on set, you could just forget about it and just tell the truth.
mm, absolutely. One of the most powerful moments in the movie for me, and there are several, is of course when we get to the "I am a revolutionary" speech. Tell me a little bit about filming that particular scene, because if blood is not racing through your veins as you're watching this film before you get to that moment, it is by the time you get to that moment, and it's very much a call and response, kind of moment for the audience. Tell me a little bit about filming that.
It's very intense, very intense day. It was the only day I woke up 20 minutes after my pickup. And I got to set, and it was just like I hadn't played Chairman Fred for a week, and it was just wow, it was just like 450 people waiting, and then they just Shaka came up to me and said, "Yo, we're shooting a rehearsal." I was like, "All right, cool, let's go." Like, and I went down and I just did it, but I kind of it was so interesting because it was if when I watch it, I don't remember it. Like it's not like
Mm,
I can go, oh, I remember I did that, I chose that. I kind of let go because it was the first speech that we had where we spoke Chairman Fred's actual words. And I said, let's just let the words do the work. It was a really special moment. You felt like, wow, like this is how it must have felt at that time, you know?
mm.
This is how it must have felt at that time, and how activated they were and how inspired they were by Chairman Fred and his words. But it was a very special day.
People are going to watch this and be blown away by the technique, that you put into developing Chairman Fred Hampton for this film. At what point did you feel like you absolutely nailed him? At what point did you feel like I am Chairman Fred Hampton?
I never felt like that in me. I would always, because I think that position would have can cause some complacency. But there was moments on that I Am Revolutionary Day when I would finish the speech and the audience would go, "Yeah, you go get him, Fred. You go get him, Fred." They weren't calling me Daniel anymore. You know what I mean? They were calling me Fred. Moments like that, you're like, "Wow, he's here in some way, shape, or form. Like he's here." And but it's that kind of go, "Cool, stay focused."
Mm,
That's a reason to stay aligned. That's a reason to stay focused. I was in that moment, in that time. I I told the truth of that moment for
mm,
me in that
mm.
interpretation, and I just got to sit in that and then stand on that. It just makes me more confident in being who I am. I mean, this has arrived to me in a very organic way. I'm a geek on structure, story structure, so I really care about craft when you're seeing it on the page, in terms of how do they handle exposition. So I want that too. As like all of them, this project had all of those things that really made me feel good in terms of like being a part of it. But also, strong opinions loosely held. So if there's
Mm.
someone's going to tell me, yo, you need to do this, or I'll have another idea. I'm like, all right, cool, let that go. I'll keep it moving. But at this moment, it makes me feel strong in myself.
And you should,
Thank
because
you.
again, job well done. This was so excellent. From one Black Panther to another. Daniel, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I do appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it, man. Take care, yeah.
And other